All right, let's talk about what we came here to talk about. Okay. Um, First rant, biggest pet peeve that I see as somebody coming back to the product is the sad state of affairs of the Divas division. Women's wrestling is like almost non-existent in the WWE, and I'm telling you, the ladies ain't getting no respect, except for Mick Foley. Mick writes on his blog, which is mickfoley.typepad.com. I want to go ahead and click on the entry that says Diva Believer in order to read what he had to say about about how he feels about the Divas. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a cut and dry thing. He praises the Divas for their hard work and their development, which is basically the whole gist of his blog. And that's something I could definitely agree on. Just like the men, they have a very grueling schedule. They barely get to go home. They travel as much as the gentlemen do. And on top of that, whereas some people can go around looking like a freaking serial killer because they ain't had like 4 or 5 days of sleep, the Divas can't do that. They have to look their best all the time because that is part of the product. So I think that every single one of them work really, really hard just for appearance alone. And I can't knock that. I'm not going to knock the talent for that. Mick also says that he admits to what he calls old school thinking. Basically, he's under the idea that models cannot be taught to wrestle well, and that most of the folks, the talent that he saw, he actually believes that you get the wrestler first, and then you can work on the appearance part. And he praises Karma for coming from dojos in Japan, where she started. Beth Phoenix started in the Indies. He talks about Natalia, who is from a prominent wrestling family. And I'm going to add Tamina Snuka on there because that's Jimmy Snuka's daughter. So he has a lot of respect for them because they came up old school. And he didn't really have as much respect for the models that were coming in, your Trish Stratuses, your Tori Wilsons, your Stacy Keeblers, your Alicia Foxes, your Candice Michelle's, your Kelly Kellys. These guys that came in and, they were, he's under the impression they were hired for their looks, and then they got sent to wrestling school for a little bit of training, and, they came out to perform. He says that from what he's observed over the years of seeing these ladies grow up, do their thing, that he is now a believer in the Divas after seeing where they came from, where they are now. Especially when, he definitely talks about his experience working with Eve, working with Kelly Kelly, Candice Michelle, and the Bella Twins. And, I agree with him about 99.9% on his blog because Mick Foley he has my total and utmost respect as a wrestler, as an elder statesman in the wrestling community, and as a supporter of RAINN, which is the Rape and Abuse and Incest National Network. It's something that's near and dear to my heart as a charity concern. My army buddy, Candice, she works over at one of the shelters as a counselor, and Foley on his time off. Eve Torres raises a lot of money for RAINN, and which is why I'm kind of infuriated with what the company is doing with her right now, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So let me start by covering a couple of points that he brought up, and I'm going to try to bring this all into one thing here. Old school thinking. Mick, there's nothing wrong with old school thinking. You know, your fans perceive Beth, Carmen, Natalia, Layla, Maxine as actual and they're the ones that were forged from the old school. So there's something to that. I'm not saying that models can't become very good wrestlers, you know, and they do have their moments where they shine. Like Alicia Fox last week on SmackDown with that bridge, she's showing a development in her ability. The problem is that they really don't get a lot of time to develop. They get out there, they get trained for a couple of weeks, and it shows. It shows. And that's problematic. It's problematic, which brings me to my next thing. I want to believe, Mick. I want to believe in the Divas division. I grew up watching women wrestlers. The Fabulous Moolah. Mae Young was still wrestling and she was in her freaking 40s, you know? You had Wendy Williams. You had, coming up to Trish Stratus, Lita, Luna Vachon. I mean, China, these are women that could wrestle. And then in the 90s, you had that added bonus that these were women that had looks and can wrestle. So that's not an impossibility. And they're out there and they exist. And if you don't believe me, watch the Knockouts match in TNA. Because that's where all the good talent is going to. And that's a damn shame. I don't want to begrudge anyone an opportunity to get paid. Every single one of those women bust their behind to do what they can within the best of their abilities. But when when I say you, I'm talking about the WWE, when you present us with a substandard product, it's insulting. It's insulting to the talent. It's insulting to the fans. I love Kelly. I love Alicia Fox. Except when she says stuff like this.
So what kind of training are you guys doing to get ready?
I'm just more trying to get my outfits together because it's like big pimpin' or go home, you know?
Look, I know you don't have a match for WrestleMania, but you didn't have to make it seem like you're not taking this wrestling thing seriously by saying, instead of worrying about training and conditioning and being in the top shape for the greatest show of them all, I need to figure out what my outfit's gonna look like. It boggles the mind, Alicia. Boggles the mind. Which brings me to the insulting gimmicks. Natalia is one of your premier submission specialists. Just happens to be a girl. Trained in the dungeon. Jim Neidhart's daughter. And you give her a fart angle. Do you think the fans want that? Or do you think they want to see what Natalia can do? Just a thought. Cut the shit. Eve works with an organization that focuses on trying to bring dignity back to women that have been subjected to the worst kind of trauma that they could possibly get. And what do you do, WWE? What do you do with Eve Torres? You put her in this role where she uses the lowest common denominator to get ahead. And you make her you sideline her on what is a major superstar angle. I think Eve might be a little bit better than that. Just a thought. Just a thought. Why is your champion losing in recent matches? Why is this happening? And don't get me started on how she should be on equal footing with the male counterparts, because another segment. I don't think WWE is treating any of their champions right. But hey, I think Beth is getting the worst part of it, because because she's the Divas champ. And they don't seem to give a shit about the Divas. There are no valets. Unless you count AJ and, well, that's how they're treating her. Nothing wrong with valets, people. Nothing wrong with that. Valets can be smart. Fabulous Moolah started off as a valet. China started off as a valet. There's nothing wrong with that. If if you have talent that you're bringing out there to be cosmetically pleasing, I see no problem with them with having valets. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't send off my send off my feminist radar or anything like that. I mean, sometimes that's what you do to what you do to get into the business and get your name out there. And it's not like valets don't need to have any skill or take bumps or anything like that. I love Ms. Elizabeth. Rest in peace. I love Nancy, a woman. Marlena, who's Goldust's valet. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You can go back to that. I don't think there's going to be a problem. I mean, we have fan service. I'm sure it's unintentional, but, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a couple of guys that love Kelly and Alicia Fox in different ways that I love Kelly and Alicia Fox. And I think, being a valet wouldn't be a bad thing, and it would give them it would give them the screen time that they needed, and they might be able to get some freaking character development out of it. I don't know. It's highly debatable, but, it's better than putting them in the ring and they can't bounce off the ropes, right? Because, they don't have that, they don't have the opportunity to develop, and that's just not cool. And I can understand the Bella Twins leaving if that is if the rumors are true, because they're not gonna meet up to their own potential in the WWE. I think everybody knows that. I hope they go to TNA, because hope they go to TNA. Hope they go to Shimmer. Which would be sad, because I wish I could find a way to watch some Shimmer matches, because them ladies can go. I'm a fan. I'm a female fan. I buy tickets just like the guys do. I buy merchandise just like the guys do. There's no reason why you should insult my intelligence or the intelligence of the talent that is in that ring, that is a part of your company, the way you do. It's insulting. It's insulting. And we all deserve better. Not just the female fans, not just the talents, the male fans deserve better too. They pay money to see a match. They didn't pay money to see a piss break. And that's all I gotta say about that.